This is Josh here from Inside Wrestling Truth, and my guest today is Mortimer Blankenship. How you doing, man?
Can't complain. A little tired, but that's same old, same old.
You ready to do this interview?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. What made you want to get in the wrestling business?
I've always liked wrestling. I mean, I've always, well, I grew up being a mark. I mean, that's, my dad raised me watching wrestling, and I ended up working at a factory in Seymour, Indiana, and I met one of my mom worked there first, and she told me about one of her friends that worked there that used to wrestle, and his name was Luscious Lonnie Lee, and I met him there, and he said he was doing shows again. He hadn't been wrestling since the 90s, I think, and he said that he started back up. This was back in 2010, and he said, "Do you want to come down and manage me?" And I said, "Well, I've never really done anything like that before." And he goes, "I know you know how to act. Your mom talked about how you're in musical plays and stuff in high school, a bunch of musicals, a bunch of plays, and I acted. That was my thing." And he goes, "You love wrestling." He goes, "We talk about it. We talked about wrestling quite a bit." And he asked me to come on down. So I guess what I want to get into it is the fact that the opportunity was there, and I've always loved it.
How did you get?
Like exactly in?
Yeah.
Well, Lonnie brought me down to, at that point in time, it was SCW, ran by Matt Douglas.
Okay.
And I came in, and they said, "Hey, this is our manager." We told him what we wanted him to do, and it was Lonnie versus Roger Blade. And I remember at the end of that match, my first match, I carried a clipboard with me just because I thought that'd be a pretty cool weapon to have. And I ended up breaking it over Roger Blade's head. And I was told by Matt Douglas, I got ripped, but that I wasn't told to do that. And I was told to do that. The two veteran workers in the match were like, "This is what we're going to do." And Matt Douglas told me, No. Basically, told me I'd never work in Madison again, but as you can see, I'm here in Madison. But, it's okay. Shortly thereafter, he left Madison, and Mortimer came back to Madison. So.
Let's talk a little bit about where we're at today, AWA Supreme. How did you? Well, we talked about how you got here working for Matt Douglas, and
yeah. Well, it's funny. I after I did that show down there, I worked one more show in North Vernon. It was one of Roger's shows, and I think it was what was it? CWC, Championship Wrestling Council, I think it was, and I met Draven and became good friends with him. And he called me a few months later after Douglas had tore the arena, the A21 Main Street, West Main Street downtown, tore it to pieces. But Draven said, "I'm back in the building. I want to keep having shows, and I want you as my manager." And I said, "I'll be." AWA Supreme is my home when it comes to wrestling. I mean, I've done a few other shows, and I'd like to do other shows, but when it comes right down to it, AWA Supreme will always have my heart. It's just how it is.
Who's been your favorite person to manage here at AWA?
That's a difficult question for me. I've managed a lot of great people. There's probably two. It's a tie. Maybe three. I don't. It's the chemistry that me and Draven have is only matched by one other wrestler, and that's Johnny Justice. Me and Draven, I've been managing him since almost like day one. Mm-hmm. And then Johnny Justice is one of my best friends. I brought him down to wrestling. And, he started out being my bodyguard. We have a bunch of comedy spots that we do together all the time that he'll get hit between the legs, and you know, I'll be checking on him as he's sitting out in the crowd holding himself, you know, and I'll turn around only to get punched and I'll fling around and fall head first right, you know, stuff like that. And the kids love it,
Right.
you know. So probably Draven or Johnny. My challenge. I also love a challenge. So you know, my buddy Dino Stephanopoulos. He's you know, slowly but surely became who he is in the ring today, working with me, because he's quiet. When we first met, it's actually Johnny Justice's little brother. He is quiet. You wouldn't even know he's the same guy now, because we brought him out of a shell, and it's because he was kind of a challenge at first, because he didn't know what he was doing when it came to persona, but nevertheless, he tried and tried and tried, and now he's came into something. He's unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, he's not here in AWA right now, but it's for a good reason. He's actually in the military and doing his basic training. So, yeah.
What's the favorite match you've been a part of?
I've been a part of, like wrestling or managing, because I've done both.
Either one.
Either one. I'll give you one of each. Managing wise, like I said, I grew up watching wrestling, and you know, when it comes to certain wrestlers, I've watching TNA. I always loved Shark Boy, and I got to manage against Shark Boy. And you know, he does that Stone Cold gimmick.
Yeah.
And at the end of the match, I took the Shark Boy stunner from him, and you know, I'm laying there, you know, out, you know, just laying there, and he comes over and starts doing that Stone Cold, and you know, you stupid piece of trash. And it was awesome, and so that managing wise, probably the Shark Boy match. Just because it made me. It brought back those memories of being, you know, sitting in my living room playing the TNA game, being Shark Boy, you know.
Right.
Wrestling wise, it's hard to beat the matches that I've done in Seymour. Every year we do a show in Seymour that's for the Anchor House, which is a local like homeless shelter and food bank. And we do a benefit show in Seymour. And last year I had a match against Johnny Justice, and that was a lot of fun. You know, bounced my head off like 35 people's feet. And, you know, kids were eating it up. But this year it was me and Von Lilas versus Johnny Justice and my little brother, Mortimer Blankenship.
Okay.
And that match was great. You can look it up online. It's what channel is it on? It's on Roger Blade's channel, actually.
Right.
And it's pretty awesome.
What about favorite moment?
Favorite moment? Probably the first time I ever did anything in wrestling. I broke a clipboard over Roger's head, and that video is hard to find. But if you ever got to see it, as soon as I do it, that thing shattered into a million pieces because it was a plastic clipboard, and it scared me. Like, I didn't expect it to happen. So if you see me, I hit him. All of a sudden, I'm shocked. I'm just like, you know, like, looking around, but you know, afterwards, I remember the shaking I had, the adrenaline rush I had afterwards. That's probably the best moment, was the first adrenaline rush I had from, you know, being a manager. It was awesome.
Okay. What legends have you got to work with, like managing or on the same show as, etc.?
Legends? It depends what you consider a legend. Legend is a very...
let's just go with big names.
Big names? Big names. Okay, like I said, Shark Boy. I've worked with Bobo Brazil Jr., Bill Dundee, Rob Conway.
Okay.
Let me think here. Ricky Morton. That was the last time you were here.
Yeah,
Ricky's a lot of fun. I like him a lot. I guess Todd Morton. I think that's about it.
Okay.
I hear we're going to have a possibility of having Hillbilly Jim on the show.
That'd be awesome.
And I'd be all about that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What's the best part of working with AWA Supreme?
The friends that I've made. I've gone to other locker rooms and they're good and everything, but in this locker room, it feels like a family.
Family, right.
And I'm sure other places feel like a family, but it's my family. So
Yeah.
that's just kind of how I am about it. I like that we're family friendly. I love that you'll go out there and the kids could come in, see a show, and not learn 7 different cuss words.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I feel like there's a time and place for that, and at a family-friendly show, it should stay family-friendly. That's all, what I've always thought.
How did you come up with your gimmick?
Luscious Lonnie Lee said, "Hey, I need somebody to come down and be a lawyer." Really, is what I was originally going to be, and he said, "I said, yeah." He said, "Your homework, in order to do this, is to think of a name for your gimmick." And I said, "Oh, that's easy. Mortimer Sebastian Blankenship III." And he goes, because that's great. How did you think about it? I don't know. I cannot tell you to this day how I came up with the name. I can tell you from from the name came the gimmick almost, because I had an idea of what I wanted to do, but starting out, I was more of a shyster sleazeball kind of gimmick.
Yeah.
But as I progressed, I became more of a obnoxious, flamboyant, know-it-all rich jerk. It's for me, there's a base gimmick there, like a basis, but it changes based on my crowd.
Yeah.
What they want to not see out of a person, I give it to them.
Okay.
When I'm healed.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I'm not, which is weird. I was healed for 5 years, and now I'm
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm not. It's weird, but I love it. I love a challenge.
You were a fan of wrestling growing up, you said. Who were some of your favorite managers growing up?
Let me see here. Of course, Bobby the Brain Heenan. Bobby Heenan. I like the $1 Million Man we managed. Let me see here. A little bit. I enjoyed Jimmy Hart to an extent, just because he was so overly obnoxious that you couldn't help but want to see him get punched. Jim Cornette, same thing, overly obnoxious, and also growing up, being from Southern Indiana, Kenny Bolin.
Kenny Bolin? Okay.
Kenny Bolin, he star maker. I remember when I was little, my dad and I were at a show in Seymour, and Kenny came out and said something about there is no place to eat in this town, and my dad yelled at him, "Well, it doesn't look like you've missed any." And I just want, just how it goes. I really, Kenny Bolin was a big influence.
Do you feel the art of managers is dying?
The art of manager is not dying. It is the art of being a manager will never die, because there will always be the art of doing it. It might be sports entertainment, not wrestling, sports entertainment's need for managers might be dying. But there still will always be an art to it when it is used in a pro wrestling show. Because to me, there's a professional wrestling show and there's a sports entertainment show. And the sports entertainment, in order to be a manager in sports entertainment, you have to either be somebody who has already established themselves as a wrestler in the past, i.e. Zeb Coulter, Dutch Mantell, or owned a company like Paul Heyman. And either that or, be a woman. It's kind of how it goes right now.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm a realist. I don't do this for fame. I do this for the kids, really. I go out there and I love, ticking them off.
Yeah.
Having little kids getting so mad that they want to see me get what's coming to me at the end. And I do it for the kids, and the art of managing will always be alive as long as pro wrestling is still alive.
What's the most heat you ever got? I've had death threats. Yeah. I had one lady approach me in the parking lot, and I had to be like, whoa, back up, and I jumped in my car and just took off. It just nothing too big, but nothing that I knew I was doing my job. I've had a fan draw blood on me before. I had a show in Seymour. I'm from Seymour. I work at a food place in Seymour. People see me on a daily basis. This lady saw me at this show, and I've seen her in my restaurant before. And she comes up and smacks me right in the face as I'm cutting a promo. I'm like, are you kidding me? You've seen me daily, at least once every 2 weeks. Yet I didn't know the lady, but it's one of those, you gotta know that this is a show at this point in time. Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, it was awesome for the show. The crowd bought. So.
What are some other companies you would like to work for in that area?
That I'd like to work for? Any of them, really.
Any of them?
I mean, I'm with my real job, I have a real tight schedule.
I understand that.
But if anybody wants someone like me, get a hold of me. I'm on Facebook.
Okay.
I'll see what I can do. I'm not real picky. Like I said, I'm used to doing the family-friendly thing. I know really, I'm not big on the extreme stuff. I just get at me.
Who are some other guys you would like to manage, or not just like to manage, you think you would fit well with?
That would fit. Okay. I feel like I could make with his pretty boy looks, even though he's pretty over with everybody. I think I could make Ace Perry a really big heel. I feel like Ace's looks with my evil charm.
Yeah.
I think that would be awesome.
Okay.
I have got to work with Ace. Joe Pittman. I haven't got to work with Joe, but I've seen a lot about him, and I love his gimmick. I absolutely love Joe's gimmick, and I think I will work it out really well. One other guy I'd really like to work with is Chuck.
Okay, yeah.
Just because he's goofy and I'm goofy.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can do some goofy stuff.
This next question, I'm going to name some guys off to you. I do this on all of them.
Okay.
And you just give me your thoughts on it.
Name recognition?
Yeah.
Cool.
First one, of course, is Eric Drape.
My best friend in wrestling, my brother. The reason I am in wrestling, Lonnie got me started. Draven kept me in it.
Right.
And I owe him a lot when it comes to letting me do something I've always wanted to do. And keeping a show running, a weekly show.
Yeah.
I mean, weekly shows are hard, and Draven pulls it off.
Texas Outlaw.
Texas Outlaw. He's gonna hate me for saying that. Gentle Giant. I had been here not very long, and he was in the other locker room, and I was standing there talking to somebody, and he went to, just jokingly slap me on the back. Well, he slipped and fell, and slapped me so hard that it sounded like a shotgun blast. And my arm stayed up like this, shaking for about 20 minutes because I didn't want to move. And ever since then, he says he'll never chop me again, anywhere. So that's Tom's a great guy. He likes to play jokes on people, but we all do. And another guy that I really respect.
What about Ricky Morton?
Ricky Morton. I could sit and listen to Ricky tell stories all day. Some of his stories are just mind-blowing. And he's full of knowledge. He could teach you how to work any match you'd ever need to work in your career. And he's probably one of the most genuine guys I've ever met in this business.
Matt Atreya.
Matt Atreya. Oh, Matt. Matt and I, we cut up quite a bit back here. Him and I might disagree on what a wrestling match should have in it sometimes. I'm more of the Memphis style. He's more of the northern style, if you know what I mean. But we make things work. I managed him for a while, and when it comes right down to it, I like managing him, but he doesn't need a manager. Matt has the personality. He doesn't need a manager. Matt could be, if he ever gets to the point where his body doesn't want him to do this wrestling thing anymore, he could still be a manager, and he could still entertain a lot of people, because he has the personality to be.
Bobo Brazil Jr.
Bobo Brazil Jr. The first person in wrestling that I was afraid to be chopped by. To be honest with you, getting into this, I took my chops. You know what I mean? And after that, you're not really afraid of them. Mm-hmm. And then Bo walks in. And, he comes in there, so, I want to get you. Okay, well, if it has to happen, it has to happen. And I've taken, I think, 3 of them from him, and they're horrible. They are. But, he kind-hearted soul. Another one of the gentle giants. He really is.
And the last one is Skyfire.
Christian Skyfire?
Yeah.
Well, brother, I've gotten to like Skyfire. He had some some heat there for a while with some good friends of mine, and I never got involved with it. That's something I don't do. But when he comes around now and actually, wrestles here and everything, and he impresses me when it comes. For such a, he's a bigger guy. I mean, he's not a little guy by any means. He'll flip off that top rope and do corkscrews, and he's ballsy, very ballsy.
Let's talk funniest moments in the ring.
Funniest moments in the ring. You got enough time?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'll keep it short. Let's see here. There's been oh gosh, I've been forced to eat dog food. That was funny for everybody else. Force-fed dog food by Johnny Justice. That was interesting. Let's see here. There's, it's hard for me to pick thinking about it and have it all go through my head. They did a drawing, a raffle for people to get in the ring with me and tell me what they think about me. So I had to sit there and listen to all these fans tell me what they thought of Mortimer Blankenship. For me, it was funny because, I'm sitting here trying not to laugh at these people saying these things about me just because I find a lot of stuff funny. I've done taken so many super kicks. I've the misplaced. I've taken a fireball in the face. What else? And for me, I think with the way I sell, it's funny because I let out a big scream like, I'm not gonna do it now but I do the whole getting stomped on the hand. Like I'll be standing on the outside talking about wrestling, they'll come over and stomp my hand. I let out a girly scream. I'll do the thing where Draven is wrenching someone's arm. He'll put their arm over the top rope and I'll wrench it, and then on the third time it's Draven's, and the crowd, the kids. I've done a lot of funny stuff. I mean, I don't like to toot my own horn, but I think I'm pretty funny. I mean, sometimes.
What do you love the most about being a manager?
What I love most about being a manager. Oh man, the fact that you can control a room full of people by the way you act. I don't care how big the building is. I don't care if it's 10 people, 10,000 people, I don't care how many people it is. The manager controls that room. And because if your guy needs heat, you get him heat. And I love that. Your guy, you give your guy some shine. It's just how it is. I feel like also the manager gets to control quite a bit when it comes to telling wrestlers who don't know what they're doing what to do in the ring whenever they come over to you. That's one of the things I love about being a manager too. Like with Dino, when Dino would get lost in his match, I'd have him come over to me. I would choke the guy on the rope. I'd choke the guy out on the rope and then tell that guy what to tell Dino. That's what helping the matches, helping the flow of the show is what's awesome about being a manager.
Right. I understand that. What do you think makes you different from other managers?
How can I say this without sounding like a complete and total jerk? That's rough.
Yeah, that is.
I have logic. I'm not saying I've worked with a lot of good managers. Jason St., Darren O'Neill, both good managers. But with me, I have logic. I know what needs to be for AWA Supreme, and I'm sure any other place, because where you can work Memphis anywhere you go, and the match will work.
True.
And the match will work. And my logic is Memphis, and I can go in there and take a new guy, and have them work a Memphis match, even if they haven't worked Memphis before.
Favorite city or town to work in and why?
Bet you think we'll say Madison, right?
Yeah, I do.
It's either Seymour or Madison. I mean, because Seymour's my hometown. Salem was fun. I've worked Salem. Good crowd in Salem. I've worked Austin. I've worked Versailles. I've worked Clarksville. All good places. But Madison's home when it comes to wrestling, and it's my favorite town to work because it's 1983 in that arena.
Right.
And some people. One second. Okay, some people think that Memphis wrestling is dead, and you know what? In some places that's true, but in Madison, it's 1983. If you use a chain as a gimmick and you hit somebody with it, guess what? They're getting pinned. And that tells a story.
Go
ahead.
What do you love and hate the most about the wrestling business?
I love the fact that it turns anybody who watches it into a kid again. I love that. What I hate about it is the drama. Here, not so much. We try to keep it a drama-free locker room. But if it could go anywhere from the veterans thinking the new guy's getting too much shine, getting a belt when they shouldn't get it, or something along the line. There's. And I haven't been in the business very long, about 5 years. But when I watch a wrestling show, and put yourself in the shoes of the marks, of the fans, and you have a babyface come out, and they're new. Let's say it's Greenway, and he comes out, and he has what it got, what it takes. He goes out there. The crowd's behind him 100%. He's solid as a worker, and the crowd wants to see that guy right from the top, or vice versa. If it's a really good new heel, Green Boy heel, they want to see that guy not get anywhere. What should you do? If he's a guy that shouldn't get anywhere, you should put the belt on.
Right.
If it's a guy that they want to see have a belt, you should have a really top heel. Have that belt taken away from that top heel by that really good babyface. But a lot of, I hear and I read, a lot of veterans don't like that. Well, I could see it from their point of view, and I could see it from the other point of view. I agree that green guys need to earn their spot in the locker room. To me, there's a difference between in the locker room and in the arena. In the locker room, if I tell someone that just started training, hey, will you go get that real fast? Like, let's say we need a chain for a match or something. Hey, go get that real fast. Mm-hmm. They should say, okay, go get it, right? That's how it goes. Yeah. But if that guy that I just told get that chain is the number one baby face out there, by all means, give him what the fans want.
Yeah.
I mean, let the fans wait for it, but eventually, it won once. Yeah. I don't know. I wish people would get along better when it comes to that, but it's just people were, you know, when they were trained in the old school way, they don't like the fact that things are changing. And I wouldn't either if I was in their shoes. But I guess I'm new school. I'm a new school guy with a Memphis, which is weird.
Where do you see your career in 5 years?
In 5 years, I would like to, in 5 years, either be helping run a show and doing the Morty thing, or in 5 years, I'm getting married in August, and I've done this for 5 years now, and I've had a great time doing it, and I don't want to ever quit, but in 5 years, I'm a fat boy. It takes a lot out of you, okay? Being a guy this size and bumping, and it takes it out of you. And, I want to be able to, whenever I have kids, be able to do things with them, like go out and play catch and stuff. So if I could, end up doing a commissioner role or something along those lines, or, something that's a little less impact, probably five years under, that's what I'll be doing.
Who have you learned the most from in the business?
It's a mixture. Draven and Spaz. Draven has taught me basically all the lingo, all the different nomenclature and stuff we use back here when it comes to gimmick, the word gimmick, potato, stiff, so different stuff like that, and Spaz taught me logic.
We talked about it a little bit a minute ago, but what do you feel is the biggest problem in the Indies? You think there's too many shows in Southern Indiana?
Too many shows in one place in Southern Indiana. I feel like Madison's always been Madison. I mean, there's always, ever since I remember coming to Madison, there's always been a wrestling show in Madison. But when you have 3 or 4 shows running in the same place, I feel like that's a little overwhelming. And it's kind of hard for different people to want to spend their money when it's all in the same place.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like it might not necessarily a problem. It's more of a inconvenience because nobody wants to go to a wrestling show, fan-wise, and be the only 3 people in the crowd. Because it's a real intimate experience, but when you're seeing somebody get body slammed, standing up, going yeah, when nobody else is standing around you, it takes away from the experience. So, maybe companies should learn to work together better, and maybe do a show that is a bunch of groups coming together to do one show. And it doesn't necessarily have to be for a benefit. I mean, I've seen benefit shows done like that, but if you guys think about it, if you do a once a month show and if you still want to do your own show, let's say there's 3 companies. One company works the first week, one does the second week, one does the third week. All 3 of them come together and do a big show on that 4th week. You know what I mean? Take your biggest names and do a big show. It might work because we do a show here, so people come here every week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're willing to spend their money weekly. If you're going to do that, you're not going to be able to have the ticket prices you want to have because you know what ticket prices are here? $6 a ticket.
Good price.
And if you do that, and you have your one company does $6 and they don't price gouge each other, and they work in harmony like wrestling should be, I think working a bunch of different promotions in one place could work. You just have to do it a certain way instead of trying to gouge each other's eyes out.
Yeah. All right, next we're going to talk about some major companies, and I just want your thoughts on them.
Okay.
The first one is Global Force.
You know, it's on its way up. I can't tell you how far it's going to go, but it's on its way up, and I think it's great. By Jeff Jarrett, a Memphis guy. I mean, so I think
Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor, you know, my buddy Brian Seifert, I've been watching Ring of Honor and Dragon Gate and all that.
Yeah.
And it's not my style, but I got some respect for those guys.
Yeah.
Those are they put on a heck of a show. They really do. You know, a lot of the guys that are in NXT came from Ring of Honor and Dragon Gate and all that. And it is the stepping stone to the WWE to me. Yeah.
The next one is NXT.
NXT is what the WWE should be on Monday and Friday night. Instead of this cookie cutter bullcrap that they're doing, NXT has gimmicks. NXT, they come out, they have maybe 2 seconds of storyline, and then they wrestle.
Right.
And that is what needs to happen. That is what needs to be on Monday night, on Friday night. I love NXT. NXT is probably my favorite thing going right now.
TNA.
Who?
TNA.
Oh, TNA. Hey, it was a good run.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, it was a good run.
And of course, the last one is
If they look at their little brother company, little sister company, whatever you want to call it, and take some, if Triple H has so much pull with the WWE, why is he not making it like NXT?
Yeah, I agree.
I understand Vince, when it comes down, it's Vince. But, come on, man. So, I mean, you're making a mockery of not only wrestling, but yourself.
Yeah.
When it comes, I mean, yeah, okay, the rabbit thing was cute for kids. But that gimmick should only happen once or twice.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. Hey, they put the belt on Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. That's the tag team champions that actually, wrestle. Beautiful.
Okay, this is a question I ask everybody. What's your favorite pro wrestling moment as a fan?
As a fan.
A lot of people can't answer this question, so.
Okay, let me think about it here. Wow, it is my first ever pay-per-view when I was 9 years old. Starcade. Well, I just turned 10. Starcade 97.
Okay.
Or maybe I just turned 9. Either way, math is not my strong point. Starcade 97, Sting versus Hogan. I hated Hollywood Hulk Hogan. I remember despising him. Because, wrestling, it was still real. It really was. And my dad and I always disagreed on wrestlers. Usually I liked the bad guys and he liked the good guys. But I did not like Hollywood Hulk Hogan. I loved Sting. My dad hated Sting because he called him a big crybaby because he stood up at the Raptors and cried for a whole year before until he got what he wanted, which was Hogan.
Yeah.
And when Sting finally won that match, I pride. So I will say probably that match, just because it was my first ever time experience at a pay-per-view, my first ever time, witnessing Sting wrestle, really, because, I didn't mention Sting earlier, but Sting he was my favorite as a kid.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And, now, 15 years later, he's like, hey, I heard that we got bought out by WWE, so I think I'll be here.
Yeah.
It's kind of lost its splendor to me for him, but oh well. I will always have that memory of Starrcade '97.
In closing, first off, I want to say thank you for doing this interview with me.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's a lot of fun.
Is there anything else you'd like to add in or say to your fans out there, or how to get hold of you?
Hey, just Facebook.com/Mortimer Blankenship. That's me. If you need somebody like me in your show, send me an inbox message. Other than that, I'll be down here in Madison, either making people happy or really ticking them off, depending on what night it is. So, that's about it. I want to say thanks to everybody for who have supported me. I want to say thanks to the fans of Madison. Thanks to Draven. Thanks to Spaz. Thank you, Thomas Mitchell. Thank you, Roger Blade. Thank you, Lonnie Lee. All of you. You guys are the reason that I'm here, and it's the reason I keep doing it. So, and thank you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.